You don't have to be a world-class athlete to live like a champion. You don't need trophies, headlines, applause, or followers to live an extraordinary life. What you need is you. Fully awake. Fully present. Fully committed to living this one life with meaning. In the quiet moments between alarms and appointments, beneath the layers of duty and distraction, a voice often whispers, "Is this all there is?" And somewhere within you, another voice rises stronger, clearer, steadier. You were made for more. This book is for that voice. It's for the part of you that knows there's more to life than hustling through the day. More than checking boxes, pleasing others, or chasing things you don't actually want. It's for the part of you that craves stillness, depth, purpose, strength that doesn't shout, but radiates. It's for anyone who's ever asked, how do I live with clarity, with courage, with joy that doesn't depend on how the world treats me? The answer begins with your mind, not your circumstances, not your resume, not your Instagram feed. Your mind, the most powerful force you have. And like any champion, it must be trained. This is the story of how to do exactly that. Cristiano Ronaldo is not a footballer. He's a metaphor. Let's get something clear from the start. This isn't a book about football. This isn't a guide to athleticism, fame, or performance. It's not about sports. It's about spirit. Cristiano Ronaldo is a metaphor. He is the modern-day archetype of devotion, discipline, and inner drive. His training sessions, his recovery routines, his unstoppable hunger theory, not just impressive. They're instructional. Because if a skinny boy from Madeira, Portugal, can transform himself into one of the most legendary athletes of all time through sheer mental focus and relentless effort, what can you become when you stop doubting your own power? What if you lived with that kind of presence, not on a field, but in your own life? What if you treated each morning like match day? Each decision like a kick that could change everything? What if your life became your championship? It can. But first, you must learn to train your mind not through force, but through stillness. And the doorway to that stillness is meditation. Meditation is not an escape. It's a return. Forget the myths. Meditation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully yourself. It's not about escaping life's problems. It's about facing them from a position of power. When you meditate, you aren't doing nothing. You're doing the most powerful thing possible. You're reclaiming your attention. You're resetting your nervous system. You're remembering who you are beneath the noise. Cristiano Ronaldo trains his body every single day. You can train your mind just the same. Each breath, each return to the present moment, each pause before reacting, these are not small acts. They are acts of self-respect. They are moments of greatness. They are how you begin to live like a champion, not with performance, but with presence. You already have what it takes. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to uncover yourself. You don't need another 10-step plan. You need to pause, breathe, and listen to the part of you that already knows what matters. This book is not here to tell you what to chase. It's here to help you stop running. To remind you that you don't need to go faster, you need to go deeper. To show you that peace is not something you earn. It's something you access, the moment you stop believing the lie that you're not enough. Every moment you sit in silence, Every time you breathe with intention, you peel away another layer of fear, distraction, and noise. And what's left is power. Quiet, steady, unshakable power. Just like Ronaldo, you don't have to be the loudest. You just have to keep showing up with discipline, with heart, and with presence. There is a game happening inside you right now. It's not one of speed, strength, or status. It's quieter, deeper, invisible to the world, but it determines everything the world will ever see from you. It is the game within. This inner game doesn't begin on a field or in a stadium. It begins the moment you wake up and ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Will you react or respond? Will you run from discomfort or grow through it? Will you float through the hours or live them with fire? You don't need to wear a jersey to play this game. You just need to be alive and willing to live with awareness. The silent field of everyday life. You may never feel the roar of a crowd or hear your name in lights. But make no mistake, you have an arena. Your arena might be the classroom, the kitchen, the boardroom, or the quiet corners of a life most will never see. In that space, you will be tested. By criticism, by temptation, by self-doubt, by the slow grind of ordinary days that don't come with medals. And in those moments, you'll have a choice. Not once, but 1,000 times a day. Will you drift or will you return? Will you abandon yourself or become yourself? Cristiano Ronaldo plays on fields with millions watching. But your life, the one you're living right now, is no less sacred, no less worthy of full presence, no less in need of intention. You don't need a stadium to live like a champion. You need a standard. And you need to live it in the inside first. Training doesn't start in the gym. It starts in the mind. When people see Ronaldo's physique, they assume it's all about the gym. But every rep begins in the mind. Before the alarm rings, before the sweat falls, before the crowd cheers, she has already made a decision. His chosen effort, chosen focus, chosen greatness. And that choice wasn't emotional. It wasn't based on how he felt. It came from a place deeper than motivation. It came from commitment. You can make the same kind of choice in your life. You can train your mind every morning before you speak to the world, before you touch your work, before the noise comes. How? With silence. With stillness. With meditation. Not to escape life, but to return to it with presence, clarity, and strength. Meditation, your inner gym. Think of meditation as training for the soul. It's the space where you build mental muscle, not by forcing thoughts away, but by learning to witness them with kindness. You sit. You breathe. You notice the chaos inside you, the stories, the judgments, the fears. And you stay. That staying power changes everything. It gives you emotional balance when the day throws surprises. It gives you confidence rooted in awareness, not approval. It gives you access to calmness that isn't dependent on the world behaving how you want it to. Ronaldo has practiced millions of shots. When you meditate, you're practicing the shot of attention again and again, returning to breath, returning to now. That is mastery. And you don't need to wait for a crisis to begin. You can sit in stillness today. You can breathe through difficulty now. You can start building your inner strength before life tests you. Because it will test you. But you'll be ready. The real opponent is distraction. Let's be honest. In today's world, your biggest opponent isn't failure. It's distraction. Distraction from your values, from your breath, from your purpose. It's in the doom scrolling, the endless tabs, the conversations that steal energy instead of building it. It's in the comparison traps, the highlight reels, the pressure to prove instead of be. But here's the truth. No one can protect your mind but you. You are the guardian of your energy. You are the gatekeeper of your peace. You are the coach, the player, and the field. Meditation gives you that reminder daily. It helps you choose presence over panic, awareness over autopilot, meaning over momentum. Distraction may knock, but you don't have to answer. You return to breath. You return to self. And the world begins to feel lighter, not because it changed, but because you did. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't shout every time he moves. His power is often silent, focused, unshaken. The same is true for you. The world may never fully understand your journey. It may never clap for your quiet breakthroughs. But you're not here for applause. You're here for alignment. You can build strength silently. You can grow your soul in the ordinary. You can train without a finish line. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Because your motivation doesn't come from outside. It rises from within. That's the real gift of meditation. Not performance, but presence. Not glory, but growth. Not proving you're enough, but remembering you already are. Every day, there are two versions of you. One that wants to shrink, and one that wants to rise. One that fears failure, and one that sees failure as fuel. One that believes the voice of doubt, and one that hears it but keeps walking anyway. Meditation helps you choose the second version. It helps you meet yourself in honesty and love what you find. You stop running. You stop numbing. You sit, breathe, and rise. You play the long game not for perfection, but for peace. You learn to walk through life like a champion. Not because of what others see, but because of what you see when you're alone in the silence. And what you see, more and more, is someone worth trusting. This is the beginning. No one becomes a legend in a day. No one builds lasting strength in a week. You will forget. You will fall. You will get distracted. But you will come back. And every return is a victory. That's what champions know. It's not who never falls. It's who returns faster, stronger, clearer. You now carry that wisdom. And this is only the beginning. You've started the inner game. And from here, your outer world will begin to change, not with force, but with frequency. So breathe. Sit. Come home to yourself. And remember, every moment is a chance to live like a champion. No field needed. No audience required. Just you. Your breath. And the beautiful, powerful choice to live awake. If you want to get stronger, you train your body. If you want to become more focused, more calm, more aware, you train your mind. Simple. Obvious. But rarely practiced. Why? Because no one taught us how. Because in the noise of life, stillness seems unnatural. Because we're so used to thinking that we forget how to listen. But once you understand that the mind is a muscle, everything changes. It gets stronger with use. It gets sharper with training. It learns resilience, just like the body learns balance. And the gym for the mind? It's called meditation. From chaos to clarity. Let's be real, most of us wake up and the storm begins. Our minds jump straight into to-do lists, notifications, what ifs, regrets, and comparisons. It's like stepping into a hurricane before we've even brushed our teeth. No wonder we feel tired before the day begins. Meditation is how you create space before the storm. It's how you claim your centerso when life pulls you. You don't snap. You bend and return. The first few sessions may feel awkward. You'll fidget. You'll think too much. You'll want to check your phone. That's okay. You're not meditating to become perfect. You're meditating to become aware. Each time your mind wanders and you gently return to your breath, you are building mental strength. One breath equals one rep. And over time, those representatives change everything. The small repetitions that make you unbreakable. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't become Ronaldo by accident. He trained every day. Small drills. Tiny tweaks. He practiced not when it was exciting but when it was hard, boring, and unseen. You can do the same with your awareness. Each moment of return is a repetition of self-leadership. Noticing your tense and softening your jaw. Catching yourself scrolling and putting the phone down. Feeling fear and breathing through it instead of numbing. Pausing before reacting and choosing grace instead of reactivity. No one sees these micro-moments. But they're shaping you more than any big performance ever could. This is how greatness is built, not in noise, but in pattern. And meditation helps you build patterns worth living by. Meditation is not about stopping thoughts. Here's a myth that keeps people away from meditation. I can't stop my thoughts. My mind is too busy. That's not a failure. That's a sign you're alive. The goal isn't to silence the mind. The goal is to become aware of the mind and choose which voices get your attention. Cristiano Ronaldo hears critics, doubts, pressure, but he doesn't give them power. He returns to what he knows. He returns to training. He returns to now. Meditation teaches you to do the same. Your thoughts are not facts. Your moods are not mandates. Your emotions are not your identity. You are the one who notices. You are the one who chooses. You are the one who returns. You are not late to this. Many people think, it's too late for me. I've been reactive for too long. My mind is too chaotic. But the mind doesn't hold grudges. It responds to today. Right now is always the right time to return. Right now is the chance to pause, to breathe, to reclaim your mental space, to become the kind of person who doesn't just survive the day but chooses how to live it. You don't need hours. You need moments of awareness, repeated with love. That's how the muscle grows. Progress you can't always see. In the gym, muscles grow silently. You don't see them changing in real time. But show up long enough, and the results speak for themselves. The same is true for meditation. At first, you might wonder, is this even working? But then you'll notice. You pause before saying something you'll regret. You catch yourself smiling at small things again. You stay centered during a crisis. You speak slower, deeper, more deliberately. You say no with kindness and don't feel guilty. You laugh more. Worry less. Listen better. These aren't accidents. They're results. You didn't force change. You trained for it. Training through the storms. It's easy to meditate when life is calm, but the true strength appears when life is not. When you're hurt, angry, afraid, uncertain, and you still breathe. Still show up. Still return. That's where resilience is forged. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't rise during only easy games. He thrives in pressure, in failure, in storms. You can too. Meditation becomes your shelter, not to escape, but to anchor. When the winds of life come, you're not blown away. You breathe deeper. You plant your feet. You move forward, not with panic, but with presence. This isn't weakness. It's emotional athleticism. And you're building it now. Make it yours. There's no one right way to meditate. Some sit in silence. Some focus on breath. Some repeat mantras. Some walk, journal, or stretch with awareness. What matters is consistency. What matters is returning. What matters is intentional presence. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. Start with 2 minutes. Build to 5. Then to 10. Then to a lifetime of mindfulness in every corner of your day. You're not chasing a technique. You're cultivating a relationship with yourself. And that relationship becomes the foundation for every other part of your life. Who you're becoming. Every session, every breath, every return, you are shaping someone new. Someone calmer. Someone clearer. Someone who listens before reacting. Someone who holds space for others. Someone who radiates steadiness. Someone who knows their worth without needing applause. You're not meditating to become better than others. You're meditating to become the most grounded, honest, alive version of you. That is the real reward. That is the real strength. And it never fades. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't announce its tests. It just brings them. One phone call. One hard conversation. One unexpected turn. And suddenly, the ground shakes. In those moments, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your preparation. This is where the work you've done in silence becomes your shield. This is where the breath you've trained becomes your anchor. This is where your presence becomes your superpower. Cristiano Ronaldo has been in 1,000 pressure situations, finals, penalties, media storms, failure on global stages. But what makes him exceptional is not just his talent, it's his ability to remain unshaken. While others crumble under expectation, he performs. And you can do the same, not on the football field, but in the arena of real life. With family. With grief. With hard news. With stress. With dreams on the line and nothing going right. This is your chapter of grace under pressure. And meditation will guide you through it. The storm is not the enemy. When people feel pressure, their instinct is to escape, to distract, to panic, to push harder. But champions know, pressure is not the enemy. It's the moment that reveals your depth. Pressure doesn't break you. It exposes what's already there. If your inner world is noisy, pressure makes it louder. If your identity is built on praise, pressure feels like threat. If you've never paused to build your center, pressure shatters you. But if you've trained your mind just like you'd train your muscles, then pressure is a mirror. It shows you your strength. It activates your preparation. It calls forth your calm. And in that moment, you don't react, you respond. That's the difference. That's mastery. Meditation is rehearsal for life. Every time you sit in stillness, you are practicing pressure in miniature. You're watching discomfort rise and not running. You're observing thoughts spiral and not following. You're noticing fear and still breathing. This is not just mindfulness. This is mental rehearsal. You are becoming someone who knows how to sit with discomfort, breathe through anxiety, and choose your response in the middle of emotional chaos. So when life brings a real storm, you've already practiced. You've already sat with fear and didn't collapse. You've already met uncertainty and didn't run. And now, when the moment calls, you don't panic. You show up. Not because you're fearless, but because you're trained. You were born for hard things. You've survived storms you didn't think you'd get through. You've cried in silence and still got up. You've made decisions while shaking and still moved forward. That's strength. That's grace. And you didn't find it in comfort, you found it under pressure. Meditation doesn't make life easy. It makes you equipped. It gives you the muscle to hold grief, fear, anger and not drown in them. It gives you the space to say, "This hurts, but it doesn't own me. I'm afraid, but I'm still here. I don't have all the answers, but I trust myself to walk this." That's what champions say, not just on game day, but in real life. When relationships crack, when dreams delay, when plans fall apart, they stay. And you can, too. Breathing through the fire. In the middle of panic, your breath is the first thing to leave you. Your shoulders rise. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts spiral. You start trying to fix instead of feel. But if you catch it early, if you catch the rising wave, you can reclaim yourself. You can. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale slowly for 6. Repeat. Return. This is not just breath work. This is rescue. Your nervous system resets. Your awareness returns. Your center reclaims you. One breath does not change the world, but it changes how you show up in it. And sometimes, that's all you need to turn panic into peace. The courage to stay grounded. It takes zero skill to panic. It takes deep strength to stay grounded in chaos. When everyone around you is overwhelmed, be the calm one. When urgency rise, be the one who pauses. When the fire commence, be the one who breathes. Cristiano Ronaldo does not lose control in the final minutes. He steps into the moment, fully present, fully awake. You don't need a stadium to live that way. You can do it. In the heat of an argument. At the edge of burnout. When life breaks your heart. When everything's on the line. You become the eye of the storm. Not by controlling the outside, but by commanding the inside. Staying open in the middle of it all. Pressure closes people. It makes them rigid, guarded, angry, or cold. But meditation teaches you the opposite response. You learn to stay open, especially when life squeezes you. You keep your heart soft while setting boundaries. You hold space for others without abandoning yourself. You express your truth without needing to control outcomes. This is true strength. Not armor, but presence. Not withdrawal, but courageous openness. This is how you live your truth when life gets loud. And people will feel it. They'll feel your steadiness, your availability, your integrity. Not because you're pretending, but because you're rooted. Grace is greater than force. When pressure rises, it's tempting to push harder, to fight, to dominate. But champions know, sometimes, grace is greater than force. Grace is knowing when to act and when to rest. Knowing when to speak and when to breathe. Knowing that power isn't in yelling louder but in standing still with truth. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't always sprint. He waits. He watches. He strikes when the time is right. That's grace. And you can live with that same intelligence, not rushed, but ready. Meditation teaches you to trust the timing of your life. To trust your voice. To trust that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to stay. You are not the storm. When pressure hits, it's easy to believe that you are the anxiety. That you are the anger. That you are the mess. But you're not. You are the space in which those emotions rise and fall. You are the awareness that watches. You are the breath that returns. This is not abstract. It's liberating. You no longer get lost in every emotion. You learn to sit beside them. You learn to say, I see you. I feel you. But I'm not you. That is sovereignty. That is presence. That is how you move through life, not as a storm, but as the stillness that survives it. There comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, when you look around your life and ask, is this who I'm meant to be? Not just what you're doing, not how much you've achieved, but how you're living. Are you fully here? Are you guided by something deeper than routine? Are you being pulled by purpose or pushed by pressure? This is the shift. The awakening. Not from darkness into light, but from autopilot into presence. And once it happens, you can't go back. You begin to crave more than success. You crave meaning. You begin to seek more than goals. You seek alignment. And you realize, maybe for the first time, that a well-lived life isn't about how far you go, but how awake you are along the way. You don't have to be loud to be legendary. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the most celebrated athletes of all time. But look closer. His greatness isn't just in his goals. It's in his discipline, his focus, his presence on and off the field. He doesn't perform for attention. He trains because it's who he is. That's leadership. You don't need millions of followers to lead a meaningful life. You don't need cameras to make an impact. You don't need permission to live on purpose. You just need integrity to live in alignment with what matters to you. Because purpose isn't always loud. Sometimes it's subtle, steady, sacred. Sometimes it's just showing up, again and again, with your heart open and your soul grounded. That is a life well lived. Your presence is a gift. In a world full of noise, the greatest gift you can offer is your presence. Not perfect answers. Not endless achievements. Just your full, grounded, compassionate attention. When you truly listen to someone, you heal them. When you pause before reacting, you de-escalate pain. When you live with awareness, you give others permission to do the same. Meditation teaches this. It rewires your nervous system not just for your peace, but for the peace of everyone around you. Your calm becomes contagious. Your groundedness becomes leadership. Your centeredness becomes sanctuary. This is how quiet people change the world, not by shouting, but by embodying what the world is hungry for. Meaning isn't found. It's created. People often ask, "What's my purpose?" But that question can become a trap waiting for lightning bolts, signs, or certainty. Here's a truth. Purpose isn't found. It's created. Moment by moment. Breath by breath. Decision by decision. You don't wait for purpose. You live with awareness. You follow what brings peace. You show up for what you love. You stay honest with yourself. And suddenly, your life becomes purpose. Holding your child with full attention. Purpose. Creating something beautiful without expecting applause. Purpose. Saying no to something that dishonors your truth. Purpose. Showing up for your community in small, consistent ways. Purpose. It's not about scale. It's about sincerity. You don't need to change the world. You just need to stop abandoning yourself. A life of intention is a life of impact. Cristiano Ronaldo trains with intention. He eats with intention. He rests with intention. Everything is aligned to his deeper why. When you live this way not by accident, but by choice, you multiply your impact without needing to multiply your effort. Because when you're aligned, you're powerful. You say less, but it lands deeper. You do less, but it means more. You move slower, but with purpose. Meditation cultivates this intentionality. It slows the world down so you can hear your heart. It teaches you to pause, not to procrastinate, but to align. And when you act from that place, the world feels it. Even if they don't know why they feel it. That's influence. Not manipulation. Not force. Just quiet, magnetic, authentic presence. You're already enough to lead. One of the biggest lies is that you need to become more before you can live with purpose. But you don't need more time. You don't need a different job. You don't need to be fixed. You need to trust that who you are, right now, is already enough. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to have clarity about the next 10 years. You just need to be honest in the next 10 minutes. Lead your life with that honesty. And everything changes. Fulfillment doesn't live in the future. So many people chase a finish line that keeps moving. Once I get that promotion. Once I find the right partner. Once I make more money. Once I move to that place. But the truth is, fulfillment isn't a destination. It's a way of living now. You don't earn it. You choose it. You create it with your presence, your attention, your gratitude. And meditation is your training ground for this. It helps you stop postponing peace. It helps you experience life now in the breath, in the silence, in the miracle of being alive. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't wait to feel ready before training. He shows up every day, and that commitment builds his legacy. You can do the same. Show up every day, not for applause but for aliveness. Legacy is not a list. It's an energy. When you're gone, people won't remember every detail of your accomplishments. They'll remember how you made them feel. They'll remember your steadiness in crisis, your smile in the ordinary, your presence when they needed it, your courage to live honestly. That's legacy. Not your job title, not your bank account. Your energy, your truth, your love in action. And the best part? You're already creating it. With every breath, every choice, every moment of mindfulness. You're writing a story people will remember not because it was grand, but because it was real. People often think discipline is harsh. It sounds like punishment, like restriction, like something rigid and joyless. But that's not true discipline. That's control born from fear. Real discipline, the kind that transforms your life, is an act of love. It's saying, I care about my future enough to make choices that support it today. I respect myself too much to betray my peace. I don't need to wait until I feel motivated to show up with heart. This isn't self-punishment. It's self-respect. It's the art of showing up again and again, not because you hate who you are, but because you believe in who you're becoming. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't train every day because someone forces him to. He does it because he loves the game, loves the craft, and loves the man he becomes through discipline. You can live the same way. Not through pressure but through presence. Not through force but through inner devotion. Discipline is not deprivation. Let's unlearn something together. Discipline is not saying no to joy. It's saying yes to deeper joy. The joy of waking up proud of your consistency. The joy of honoring your word to yourself. The joy of knowing you chose alignment over impulse. When you meditate instead of reaching for your phone. When you walk instead of numbing. When you say no to what drains you. When you protect your time, your boundaries, your energy. That's not restriction. That's freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from living at the mercy of fleeting moods. This is the kind of life that builds true peace because it's built on true choice. Self-mastery begins with self-kindness. You can't discipline yourself from a place of shame. It doesn't last. And it always leaves a bruise. Real self-mastery begins with self-kindness. It says, I see that you're tired, but I also know you're capable. I know this is hard, and I trust you can handle it. You're allowed to rest, but not to quit. You're worthy, even while growing. Discipline becomes sustainable when it's rooted in love, not punishment. Cristiano Ronaldo pushes himself, yes. But he also honors his body, recovers deeply, and nourishes what he wants to last. That's not harshness. That's wisdom. You can bring that same wisdom into your daily life. Not with perfection, but with presence. Not with obsession, but with compassionate structure. Show up like it's sacred. What if your routine was more than just a checklist? What if it was a ritual of self-respect? Waking early to meditate becomes a spiritual act. Eating with awareness becomes a prayer of gratitude. Keeping your space clean becomes an act of clarity. Saying no to what doesn't align becomes a declaration of worth. This is discipline not as a grind but as a grounding. You move through your day like it matters. Because you matter. Every act of care becomes sacred. And over time, that sacredness makes your life feel holy even in the simplest of things. Start small. Stay consistent. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need one habit, one anchor, one commitment made with love. Start with 2 minutes of mindful breath before your day begins. 1 glass of water before coffee. 10 minutes of movement instead of mindless scrolling. Writing down 3 gratitudes before sleep. These are not massive actions. They are micro acts of self-respect. And when repeated, they become identity. You're no longer someone trying to be disciplined. You're someone who is devoted to a life of intention. And that shift, that's transformation. The power of saying no, from love, not lack. True discipline also means learning to say no not from fear, but from freedom. No to what doesn't honor your energy. No to conversations that leave you smaller. No to habits that keep you asleep. No to distractions that cost your peace. Every no becomes a yes to something deeper. Yes to stillness. Yes to clarity. Yes to growth. Yes to you. Cristiano Ronaldo isn't saying no to late nights because he's restricted. He's saying yes to recovery, to performance, to greatness. You're doing the same. Your life is too valuable to be spent unconsciously. Discipline is how you protect that value. Rest is part of the practice. Discipline doesn't mean pushing until you break. Rest is not weakness. It's strategy. It's where the muscle rebuilds. It's where the clarity sharpens. It's where the soul exhales. Ronaldo sleeps early. He hydrates. He prioritizes recovery not as laziness, but as fuel for longevity. Your rest should do the same. Meditation becomes your daily rest while awake. A space where you pause not to escape, but to realign. You're not burning out. You're burning bright because you rest on purpose. That's real discipline. That's sustainable strength. Forgive, then begin again. No matter how devoted you are, there will be slips. You'll miss a morning. You'll break a promise. You'll fall back into old patterns. And that's okay. Because discipline is not about never falling. It's about how quickly and how kindly you rise. Ronaldo has missed penalties, lost finals, been benched. But he always comes back. You can too. Not with shame, not with harshness, but with gentle determination. You breathe. You forgive. You begin again. And that, too, is discipline. You are your greatest responsibility. At the end of the day, no one can make you show up. No one can train your mind for you. No one can live your life. You are your own assignment. You are your own project. You are your own practice. And what a beautiful one it is. Not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. And every act of devotion you give yourself, every boundary, every breath, every return is building a life that reflects your truth. This is the life of a champion. Not because you're the strongest, but because you're the most awake. We live in a world addicted to speed. Fast food. Fast scrolling. Fast results. Hustle harder. Move faster. Stay busy. Keep going. And somewhere along the way, we forget how to be. We forget how to sit in silence without checking a screen. We forget how to taste our food without rushing the next bite. We forget how to breathe without reaching for the next task. We start moving so quickly that we miss the miracle of what's already here. But here's the truth. Life doesn't ask you to move faster. It asks you to wake up. Not to run harder, but to return deeper. Not to perform more, but to feel more. And the way back? It starts by slowing down. Slowness is not laziness. Let's clear this up first. Slowing down does not mean doing less. It means doing things with more awareness. Eating with presence. Speaking with intention. Listening without thinking of what to say next. Working with full engagement, not multitasking madness. Slowness is not about escaping life. It's about entering it more fully. When you meditate, you're not wasting time. You're reclaiming it, bringing back the minutes lost to mindless motion. And from that space, you become more powerful. Not by speeding up, but by showing up with clarity. Depth over pace. Cristiano Ronaldo moves with explosive speed when needed, but notice how often he waits, pauses, observes. His genius isn't in constant action. It's in knowing when to move and when to hold still. You can live with that same wisdom. Instead of rushing through everything, try going deeper. When someone speaks, truly listen. When you eat, savor each bite. When you rest, actually rest. When you love, be all in. Depth creates connection. Depth brings meaning. Depth is where life becomes rich. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, with your full heart. Presence is the new productivity. Most people equate productivity with movement. But presence is the ultimate superpower. Because when you are present, you make fewer mistakes. You listen more deeply. You waste less time on distractions. You make better decisions. You connect more powerfully. Presence makes everything work better, not just faster. Cristiano doesn't touch the ball 100 times per match. But when he does, he's fully there. That's impact. And meditation is how you train that presencia so you don't live half asleep in a life that's asking for your full attention. Be where your feet are. One of the most powerful practices in mindfulness is this. Be where your feet are. Sounds simple. But how often are you really there? Your body is in one place, but your mind is 10 minutes ahead, 10 years back, or 10 screens deep. And that disconnection, it costs you peace, joy, insight, fulfillment. But when you bring your mind back to your body, you bring your soul back to your life. You begin to notice the way the sunlight hits the table, the breath moving through your chest, the subtle feeling of gratitude for simply existing. That's not philosophy. That's homecoming. You're no longer missing your life while living it. You're in it. Fully. Slowness as rebellion. In a world that worships speed, slowness is rebellion. It's saying, I won't rush my healing. I won't trade depth for distraction. I won't outsource my worth to how much I can produce. I am here to live, not just perform. This is courageous, because you'll be tempted to speed up, to chase, to compare, to prove. But the quiet strength lies in staying anchored, to breathe, to trust, to go deep instead of fast. And that depth, that slowness, it nourishes your soul. It reminds you that your value is not in how much you do, but in how fully you live while doing it. Silence is not empty. Silence can be uncomfortable. It reveals what noise was hiding. But if you sit with it just long enough, you'll see. Silence isn't empty. It's full of answers. In silence, you hear your intuition. You hear the truth beneath the surface. You remember what matters most. Meditation brings you into that silence. Not to run from the world, but to remember your place in it. Silence becomes your strength, not your fear. It becomes the space where you realign before re-engaging. And once you taste that stillness, you'll return not because you have to, but because you miss yourself when you're gone too long. Breathe life in. When was the last time you really breathed? Not just oxygen in and out, but a breath that reminded you, I'm alive. I'm safe. I'm here. One conscious breath can be a full reset. A doorway back to presence. A pause that stops the spiral. Cristiano Ronaldo trains his breath before big games, not just for performance, but for presence. You can train yours for peace. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Inhale clarity. Exhale confusion. This is not poetic. This is practical spirituality. You don't need incense or rituals. You just need a willingness to return to the now. Life is not a checklist. You weren't born to just finish tasks. You were born to feel, to grow, to connect, to create. When you slow down, you remember. Laughter matters more than likes. Rest matters more than rushing. Connection matters more than checking boxes. You are not a machine. You are a soul in motion, here to taste, to touch, to tremble with awe at how precious it all is. This moment is not a stepping stone. It is the destination. This breath is not a placeholder. It is the point. Slow down. Wake up. You're not behind. You're not late. You're right where life is happening. Pain is part of being human. It knocks on every door. Loss, rejection, failure, loneliness, grief, betrayal, shame. We all carry it, some loudly, some quietly, but no one escapes it. The difference is not whether pain visits your life. The difference is how you respond. Do you numb it? Do you suppress it? Do you let it define you? Or do you slowly, gently, courageously turn toward it? Because here's the truth. Your pain is not here to break you. It's here to awaken you. Not in the moment you're suffering, but in the moment you choose to meet that suffering with presence. Pain is a portal. Pain has a way of pulling you into your body. It silences the noise. It strips away the distractions. It brings you face to face with what's real. That confrontation can feel like chaos, but within it lies a portal, a doorway to your deeper self. It's in pain that you find your deepest questions, your hidden strength, your capacity to feel, your longing for truth. Cristiano Ronaldo has faced devastating losses, early deaths, missed penalties, crushing defeats, global criticism. But each time, he returns. Not by pretending he didn't feel, but by choosing growth over collapse. You can do the same. Pain is a messenger, and meditation teaches you how to listen without running. You are not broken. When we feel pain, we often believe, "There's something wrong with me. I shouldn't feel this way. I'm too sensitive. I need to fix myself." But none of that is true. Your pain is not proof of your brokenness. It's proof of your aliveness. You hurt because you care. You feel because you're human. You ache because you love deeply. This isn't a flaw. It's your capacity. And when you stop judging your wounds, you start healing them. Hold the pain. Don't become it. Meditation teaches you a sacred art. To feel fully without becoming the feeling. You can feel sadness without being sadness. You can feel fear without becoming afraid. You can feel anger without acting from rage. This is emotional maturity. This is sovereignty. Cristiano Ronaldo has felt the sting of loss, but he doesn't spiral. He processes, he resets, and he rises. You don't need to suppress your emotions. You just need to hold them with space. That space is what keeps you free. Let it move through you. Pain becomes toxic when it gets stuck. When we don't cry. When we don't speak. When we fake a smile. When we deny our needs. But when we allow pain to move through us. To cry, to speak, to shake, to write, to breathe. We find release. Pain begins to move like weather. Heavy clouds. Rolling thunder. Then, eventually light. You're not weak for feeling. You're strong for letting it flow. This is how pain transforms not into bitterness, but into wisdom. Let your wounds teach you. Every wound carries a lesson. Rejection teaches you self-worth. Loss teaches you gratitude. Failure teaches you resilience. Betrayal teaches you boundaries. Don't rush past these lessons. Sit with them. Learn them. Let them rewrite your story. Cristiano didn't become great by avoiding pain. He became great by using pain as fuel. You can do the same. Let your pain refine, not define, you. From scars to strength. There's beauty in scars. They are proof that you were wounded. You didn't run. You felt it all. And you healed. Not perfectly. Not quickly. But with truth and presence. Your scars are not weaknesses. They are maps of your becoming. Meditation allows you to trace those scars with love. To soften around them. To honor them. To integrate them. And one day, you'll look back and say, "That pain shaped me. That pain taught me how to live." And you'll mean it with peace, not regret. Transmute pain into purpose. Pain without presence becomes suffering. But pain met with awareness becomes purpose. You begin to channel it. Into your art. Into your words. Into your service. Into your strength. You become someone who holds space for others because you've walked through your own fire. You become someone who doesn't fear emotions because you've survived them. You become someone who shines, not in spite of pain, but because you grew through it. This is transmutation. This is alchemy of the soul. Give yourself what you needed. Often, healing begins by giving yourself what was missing. The kindness no one gave you. The validation you were denied. The safety you once lacked. The love you thought you had to earn. You don't need the past to change. You just need to be the one now who chooses compassion. You become your own healer. Your own safe space. Your own nurturer. Cristiano trains hard, yes, but he also takes care of himself. That's not ego. That's self-responsibility. You can do the same. Hold your pain not to suffer but to soften. That softness becomes your power. The light returns. There will come a day, maybe quietly, maybe suddenly, when you feel the light return. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are whole again. The heaviness lifts. The breath deepens. The smile returns, not forced, but real. You realize, I made it through. I am stronger now. I understand myself more deeply. I wouldn't be who I am without that pain. This is the gift of presence. You don't just survive pain. You rise through it with courage, with clarity, with light. There is a quiet kind of pressure that follows us everywhere. Be successful. Be liked. Be impressive. Be fast. Be smart. Be productive. Be more. And if you're not careful, it starts to own you. You begin shaping yourself around what the world expects, not what your soul desires. You start living from the outside in, performing for approval instead of living from truth. But here's the truth you already know in your bones. You were not born to fit into expectation. You were born to live in alignment. That alignment, it doesn't ask you to be fearless. It asks you to act even when you are afraid. That is true courage. Not the absence of fear, but the refusal to abandon yourself to satisfy others. The noise is loud. Your truth is louder. We live in a world that constantly tells you who to be. Social media, cultural scripts, family expectations, corporate roles. And the more you chase their approval, the more disconnected you feel. Because you can win the world and still lose yourself. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't play to be liked. He plays to be true to who he is. His confidence is not arrogance. It's clarity. You can have that too. You don't need to shout. You don't need to explain. You just need to know who you are and live like you mean it. Let your clarity speak louder than the noise. Your authenticity is your superpower. In a world full of filters, authenticity is radical. It's raw, uncomfortable, exposed. But it's also magnetic. Because people aren't healed by your perfection. They're healed by your realness. By the way you tell the truth kindly. By the way you admit your struggles. By the way you hold your ground gently but firmly. By the way you walk in peace with who you are. When you stop editing yourself to be accepted, you start liberating others to do the same. That's leadership. That's power. And meditation helps you root into that power so you stop living from reaction and start living from center. You don't owe the world a performance. Repeat this. I am not a product. I am not a brand. I am not a performance. You are a living, breathing, feeling human soul. You are allowed to rest. To have off days. To say I don't know. To feel deeply. To change your mind. to not have a 5-year plan. You're not here to impress. You're here to express. To live what is true, not what is trendy. To be real, not perfect. To choose depth over applause. Confidence is remembered, not created. You don't have to build confidence from scratch. You just have to remember who you were before the world told you to be someone else. That child who danced freely. That teen who dared to dream. That young soul who believed life was meant to feel full. They're still inside you. Beneath the conditioning, the comparison, the criticism, your essence remains untouched. Meditation clears the noise so you can hear your own voice again. And once you hear it, you'll never want to live out of alignment again. Don't dim your light. There will be moments when your light feels too bright for others. When your clarity makes people uncomfortable. When your truth disrupts expectations. When your joy triggers someone's pain. And you'll be tempted to shrink, to soften, to dim. Don't. Your light is not arrogance. It's not a threat. It's not a mistake. It's a gift. And it's not your job to make others comfortable. It's your job to stay aligned with your soul. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't dim his excellence. He owns it with grace. You can do the same. Not to prove you're better, but to show what's possible when you stop hiding. Courage isn't loud. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers. I'm still here. I'll try again. This is who I am. No, thank you. I don't agree. I love myself enough to walk away. These quiet acts of bravery are how you build an unshakable life. Each time you choose truth over comfort, you grow. Each time you honor your values, you strengthen. Each time you show up real, you rise. That's how champions are made, not just in stadiums, but in small moments of self-trust. Let go of needing to be liked. Here's the freedom no one talks about. You don't need to be liked to live fully. Being liked is nice. But being authentic is vital. The cost of constant approval is too high. It dulls your truth. It silences your soul. It breeds resentment. But when you start living in alignment, some people will misunderstand you. Some will drift away. Some will criticize. Let them. Your job is not to manage their perception. Your job is to stay true to your direction. The people who are meant for you will meet you in your realness. And that is enough. Stand tall, even when it's uncomfortable. There will be moments when living your truth feels lonely. When the crowd goes one way and your soul says another. When silence would be safer but you choose to speak. When fitting in would be easier but you choose to stand out. These moments are your defining ones. Not because they're easy, but because they are evidence that you belong to yourself. That kind of belonging, it's unshakable. Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't always take the popular path, but he never betrays his purpose. That's not ego. That's alignment. And you're here to live the same way, with a heart that refuses to betray itself to blend in. Integrity will carry you. Fame fades. Trends shift. Opinions change. But integrity endures. It's what lets you sleep at night. It's what builds real peace. It's what makes you proud when no one's watching. Integrity is when your inner world and outer world match. When your yes means yes. When your no is clear. When your actions reflect your values. When you lead from your soul, not your ego. Meditation helps you build that bridge. So you no longer live for image. You live from essence. And in that essence, you are unstoppable. There's a kind of energy that changes everything. It's not just enthusiasm. It's not a fleeting mood. It's not hype or motivation that fades by Monday. It's something deeper. Something steady. Something sacred. It's fire. The fire that lives inside you. The fire that says, "This matters. I was born for this. I'm not stopping here." This fire is not loud or dramatic. It burns quietly, but powerfully beneath your skin, behind your eyes, in the way you show up again and again, long after the novelty fades. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't become legendary because he was born lucky. He became legendary because he lives like a flame, consistent, focused, burning with purpose. You can do the same. Passion is not a mood. It's a devotion. People often wait to feel inspired before they act. But real passion isn't a mood that visits you. It's a devotion you cultivate through daily action, through honest work, through quiet commitment. Cristiano doesn't always feel like training. He trains anyway. Not because he's in the mood, but because he's in alignment. Your passion doesn't always look exciting. Sometimes it looks like discipline. Sometimes it looks like saying no. Sometimes it looks like showing up when no one claps. But underneath all of it is a quiet voice that says, "This is who I am." That's passion. Keep the fire lit. Every fire needs fuel. Without it, even the brightest flame fades. Your dreams are no different. They need rest, renewal, challenge, nourishment, connection, stillness. Meditation becomes your fuel station. Not to escape the world but to return to your spark. Each breath rekindles what's real. Each silence clears the smoke of doubt. Each return to presence reminds you why you began. Keep feeding your flame not with noise, but with nourishment. Your light deserves to last. Fall in love with repetition. Greatness doesn't come from doing something once. It comes from doing the right thing again and again. Day after day. Moment after moment. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Cristiano has taken millions of touches, run thousands of drills, watched endless hours of film, and yet, he shows up still learning, still growing, still hungry. That's the power of repetition. It's not boring. It's sacred. Each repetition is a vote for the future you want to live. Don't wait for perfect. Fall in love with showing up. Motivation fades. Purpose doesn't. Motivation is great, but it's temporary. It comes and goes with your energy, your mood, the weather, the numbers on a scale or a scoreboard. But purpose endures. Purpose is the why beneath the what. It's the thing that makes discomfort worth it. The thing that makes you train when no one's watching. The thing that makes you rise after every fall. Purpose doesn't shout. It whispers. Keep going. This matters. When you live from purpose, you don't chase results. You become the result. And that's lasting power. Let discipline be your devotion. Cristiano Ronaldo is not driven by punishment. He is driven by devotion to excellence, to growth, to his craft. That devotion shows up as discipline. Sleeping early, eating clean, training hard, recovering well, focusing fully. But the root of it all is love. Love for the process. Love for the standard. Love for the person he's becoming through it all. You can adopt this mindset, too. Let discipline be your ritual of reverence. A daily way of saying, "This matters to me." And over time, that devotion becomes identity. Build a life that can withstand the burn. Fire isn't just passion, it's pressure. And pressure exposes everything. Weak foundations crumble. Superficial goals dissolve. Fake intentions fall apart. But if your foundation is built on truth, the fire refines you. It purifies. It strengthens. It clarifies. Build your life on what's real. Not on applause. Not on aesthetics. Not on what looks impressive. But on what lasts. Presence. Integrity. Clarity. Self-respect. Then, when the fire comes, and it always comes, you'll stand inside it unshaken. Don't confuse burnout with purpose. There's a lie we're sold. If you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. But burnout is not proof of passion. It's proof of imbalance. Ronaldo trains with intensity, yes. But he also rests with purpose. He recovers. He hydrates. He sleeps like it's part of the plan, because it is. If you want your fire to last, you must protect it. Rest when needed. Say no when aligned. Refuel before you're empty. Slow down before you break down. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. And it's how passion stays sustainable, not a sprint, but a lifelong flame. Keep showing up, even if it's not glorious. Some days will feel electric. Others will feel ordinary. But don't let the ordinary fool you. Those quiet days, those unglamorous representatives, those silent mornings, they're stacking your legacy. Cristiano's greatness wasn't built in finals. It was built in every silent hour of practice. Your greatness is the same. Built in the silence. Sustained in the repetition. Shaped in the unseen. So show up. Even when it's not Instagrammable. Even when no one's clapping. Even when your fire flickers. Because each time you show up, you add wood to the flame. And one day, that flame becomes a beacon. You are the fire. Here's the truth. You don't need to chase the spark. You are the spark. It's not out there. It's in you. And every breath you take with awareness, every choice you make with alignment, every act you perform with love, feeds that fire. Protect it. Nurture it. Trust it. Because when you live from your fire, not from fear, not from force, but from soulful purpose, the world feels your heat. And more importantly, you feel alive. There is a moment, quiet, rare, sacred, when you realize you've been searching for something that was never lost. You've been running toward a version of yourself that was never far away. You've been climbing, chasing, proving, only to find that the peace you were seeking wasn't out there. It was within you, all along. This is the return. Not a return to your past, but to your truth. Not to who you used to be, but to who you've always been beneath the noise. And in this return, you don't find perfection. You find presence. You don't find answers. You find acceptance. You don't find another self to build. You find your wholeness, already here, already enough. The journey was never about becoming someone else. We spend so much of life trying to become better, smarter, fitter, happier, more. We think if we just improve enough, achieve enough, fix enough, we'll finally feel whole. But here's the great irony. You don't need to become anything. You need to remember who you are. You were born whole. Not flawless but full. Full of wisdom. Full of love. Full of enoughness. The world tried to make you forget. But meditation brings you back. Back to the part of you that was never broken. Never behind. Never too late. Never not enough. Just here. Just alive. Just real. The peace isn't in the peak. It's in the presence. Cristiano Ronaldo has won more than most could dream of. But talk to him long enough, and you'll hear. It's not the trophies that fulfill him. It's the process. The presence. The love for the moment. The same is true for you. You think peace is at the top of the mountain. But peace is in the way you walk the path. You think happiness is in the future. But it's in the attention you bring to this breath, this meal, this friend, this morning. Meditation reveals this secret. This moment is not a stepping stone. It is sacred in itself. And when you treat it as such, life becomes a blessing, not a burden. The self you were looking for is already home. You've spent years searching through books, plans, people, paths. And now, you pause. You breathe. You listen. And in the stillness, you finally hear it. Welcome back. You've always been enough. You don't need to fix yourself to be worthy of love. You don't need to hustle to deserve rest. You don't need to earn permission to be here fully. You are not a problem to solve. You are a presence to honor. The work isn't about becoming better. It's about becoming more honest, more open, more you. Nothing to prove. Everything to experience. What would life feel like if you stopped trying to prove your worth, your intelligence, your relevance, your success, your progress? What if you simply lived? What if the goal was not to win at life, but to feel it? To taste every meal with presence. To walk slowly and actually see the sky. To love without strategy. To rest without guilt. To laugh without performance. This is not laziness. It's liberation. The freedom to experience your one precious life, not from your resume, but from your soul. The power of enough. We've been taught to fear enough. That if we feel satisfied, we'll stop growing. That if we accept ourselves, we'll become stagnant. That if we slow down, we'll fall behind. But the opposite is true. When you know you are enough, you create from joy, not desperation. You relate from wholeness, not need. You grow from curiosity, not shame. You rest with dignity, not guilt. Cristiano Ronaldo still trains harder than most, not to prove his enough, but because he loves the craft. And you can love your life, your work, your people, your path, not from fear of not being enough, but from the fullness of already being it. Let stillness be your sanctuary. In a noisy world, stillness is sacred. It's not emptiness. It's return. Return to breath. Return to presence. Return to center. Meditation is not about detaching from life. It's about meeting life with full awareness. When you sit in stillness, you remember. You are not your thoughts. You are not your performance. You are not your past. You are the one who witnesses it all. From this place, you live with less fear, less grasping, less ego, more grace, more spaciousness, more love. You have nothing left to chase. Chasing is exhausting. Chasing approval. Chasing perfection. Chasing happiness. But when you return to yourself, you realize there is nothing to chase. Only something to receive this moment. You become receptive, not reactive. You become open, not frantic. You become peaceful, not performative. You meet each moment not with grasping hands, but with grateful presence. This is not the end of ambition. It's the rebirth of purpose from survival to sacred living. The journey was the destination. All the striving, all the learning, all the healing, all the stretching. It led you here, not to the version of you that has all the answers, but to the one who no longer needs them to be whole. This is the final gift of meditation, of presence, of inner training. You stop fighting your life. You stop fixing your soul. You begin living fully, bravely, truthfully. And in that living, you find a quiet joy. That the destination was never somewhere far away. That the miracle was never in the doing. That the treasure was always in the being. You have arrived.